I'd like to start this out by thanking Tom Hickner, our county executive, and his staff for helping me get this all set up. I want to turn it over now to our assistant director from the American Legion, Gary Garvin.
Hi. No. If anyone deserves a hand, it's our veterans. Just to let you know, first and foremost, thank you for your service. That is paramount. That's a big part of who I am. I'm a veteran of 27 years. I retired last March 2012. Came in E1, went out of CW4. I went out kicking and screaming a little bit because I really didn't want to retire, but one too many IEDs. But I now work for the American Legion, and I'm an advocate for veterans benefits. And I've got, to my right, I got Mr. Michael Clark, I've got Sal, and I have Yadira. She works at the Vet Center, and these two gentlemen here are from the VA hospital in Saginaw. I want you to understand, today we're going to be talking primarily about two different types of VA. There's the hospital, that's healthcare, and the other side is VA benefits. And that's what I'm here to help out with. All right? First and foremost, benefits are earned. It's not a handout. You served your country, you did so honorably, and in the process of that, you were injured. The VA, through the government, owes us compensation for that injury. All right? Early on, I've only been with the Legion 2 years now, working benefits, but early on I heard a thing that veterans said that was very upsetting to me. You only stand, sit? Are you uncomfortable? I'm looking down. I was going to stand on the floor. I was uncomfortable with it because there's this saying that they said in regards to VA benefits. And if you've heard it before, you can finish it, but delay, deny, wait till I die. I absolutely abhor that. I was like, it was so frustrating. I'm like, that's why I'm going to be an advocate for veterans, because I couldn't stand that saying. I mean, we serve that flag, and believe me, that's a living, breathing thing in my eyes. And our country got to take care of us for that, all right? But I will tell you where I work in the Detroit Regional Office. I'm on the 12th floor of the Patrick McNamara building. And being on that floor, I have the privilege of helping veterans get their claims that they've earned, that's due to them. Some of the things, though, but I will tell you, I have VA employees constantly, consistently come down to that office 2-3 times a week and say, hey, this veteran here, you've got POA, which is power of attorney. We help them in regards to their claims. If you give him a call and he submits this form, we're going to take care of him today. I just need this form signed. Or if he pulls this form, I can grant these benefits, and let's fight for that one later, but kind of pick the low-picking fruit, so to speak. All right? The VA has to follow the law. All right? So in doing so with those benefits, whether it's approved or denied, they're doing it by law. Get with any veteran service organization. This isn't an American Legion, come join. One of the things I love about the American Legion is when you come in the door at the Detroit Regional Office, we don't even ask you if you're a member. It's immaterial to us. A lot of people volunteer that they are, or they're thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to charge you the same I charge a guy from the VFW, and that's absolutely nothing. All right? You want to work with a service organization because we know how to chart those waters. I understand I've been opening up this for questions, and it's kind of an open thing here. I want to tell you primarily the VA offers two benefits to veterans. One is disability compensation. Again, you were injured, you've got a current diagnosis, and the VA can link the two. The VA can't link the two, you get denied. A primary example is I have some veterans that down at John Dingle, they come in and they say, hey, they're giving me hearing aids. They're paying for my hearing. They give me the hearing aids, the batteries, which are very expensive. I think I should be service connected. Well, we pull up, we file the claim, and it comes to turn out they're not. They don't understand that the VA hospital is taking care of them, not costing any money, but how is that not service connected? And because there was no link, or as we would say, a nexus between the two. Gentleman served 30 years ago, he got out, his hearing was fine when he got out. 10 years ago, hearing changed significantly, so the VA, through the hospital, is taking care of him, but the compensation side can't, by law. It has to be service connected, all right? The other benefit that the VA offers is pension. Pension is an income-based need. Different than compensation. Compensation, you can be a millionaire and you're still owed that compensation the rest of your life. That's owed to you. Service, prove service, we prove injury, current diagnosis and a nexus. That's owed to you the rest of your life. Pension is different. It's income-based need. Again, by law, the VA, through the government, sets a balance. I think it's a $10,058. We'll just say $10,050 or $1,050 a month for a veteran. If you don't have $1,050 of income coming in, whether it be through Social Security, retirement, the VA pays you to get to $1,050. All right? That's pension. Big misunderstanding that is, if you're not at that level, the VA won't pay you anything. So in instance, if you're getting paid $900, the VA pays $150 to get you up there. A big part of the misconception of that is the medical cost. Out-of-pocket medical expenses defray that cost very significantly, whether it be an assisted care living facility, some of the medications that we take. Oh my goodness. Copay on one of mine when I first got out was $500. By the way, my wife's back there. She's like, that's just not right. That's the medic that you need. You know, we were very frustrated that, you know, they wanted a $500 copay, but we got service connected, and now the VA pays the money that they should be in regards to that. So, any questions? I mean, I can go on tap dancing, but I just thought, yes, sir, please.
You're saying that if a person has a private long-term health care policy, that the VA will pay that policy?
You're saying if the claimant or the veteran in this case has a private insurance, would the VA pay that?
Yes.
No. You electing that private insurance, that is on you. You choose to do that. Now, if you're service connected for a disability at the different percentages, I think at 30 it kicks in pretty significantly, and then ultimately at 100, the VA provides medical care for you. Okay? But that money that you're choosing to pay out of pocket, if you're not service connected, obviously, the VA can't, unless we do pension, where healthcare comes in. Okay? Good question. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
I put 8 years in the Army.
Thank you for your service.
Listen, they lost my medical records from Germany.
Okay.
And to this day, this has been going on since '95. And they still cannot come up with records for my medical records from Germany. And I just like to know, you know, what's going on. Really, what's going on?
Well, I'll tell you. I'm sorry.
Since then, I've had 5 bypasses, 1 stent, 3 back operations.
Okay.
And I have a bad knee right now, and hearing on my left ear's going. And it was due to my job and stuff that I did.
Okay.
2 honorables, they still owe me a good conduct medal, you know. But I mean, I put my time in. Now, here's what's going on. Is that they don't recognize that I was married. I mean, it came in as I'm a single guy. No, I've been married before I put in that claim.
Okay.
And I have children that are both in school. So I'm not, you know, how long does it take? 1995. And we're 20.
Sir, are you working with a service officer on this?
just with art.
Okay,
Okay, well, that's a great start.
Well, no, and when he checks it on his stuff, it's pending. You know what, come on, how many years does it take to pen?
Yes.
You know
Well-
what I mean, it's not right, it's not.
it's not. When you have to wait, I retired, the next day I filed for benefits. It took me a year and a half, and I was like, everything that you absolutely need to decide my claims right there, why taking so long?
Yeah.
There is a backlog, I'm sure you've heard of it. All right? You've asked a couple questions, so let's cover some of those. Medical records in Germany.
Exactly,
When you got out, and when did you get out, sir?
and I got out in '81.
You got out in 1981. Not a big computer savvy nation at that point. A lot of hand carrying of records when you were supposedly, when you got out of service, those records were mailed to St. Louis.
That's what they tell me.
That's exactly, well, that's what I'm saying, that was the procedure then. Now it's a little different, you know, having been just recently retired, they tell the soldiers as they're getting out, make a complete copy of your medical records.
Well, they
just in
didn't
case.
do that, they didn't do that.
I understand.
And let me tell you something.
Please.
You know, Desert Storm and all these other guys, you know, they put in 6 months or whatever, you know, and these guys are getting out and they're getting all these great benefits. When you got a guy like this man here and myself, Vietnam era veterans and all that, what is going on? Don't they like to take care of the older soldiers, you know? I mean, wouldn't you think that we would come first, sort of,
Yes.
is all I'm saying.
Okay.
And I just do not understand.
A lot of that goes back to the, sir, I don't mean to interrupt you, but a lot of that goes back to the comment that Gary made a moment ago. When we got out of the service, I've been retired now 21 years from the Army, getting out in 1993. And when I got out, I had a stack of paper like this. Everything was in paper in those days. Since the new era of the veteran that we're talking about now, all this stuff is virtual and available in different ways online. And people like us, who might not have done a good job taking care of all our paper, are suffering because of that now, and end up in this circumstance you're describing.
That
Those
needs to
records
be
might not ever be
fixed.
available
It needs
again.
to be fixed.
The VA's trying to fix it. They've
Yeah.
implemented, they're throwing money at the issue as well, but at the end of the day, I will tell you, you can have a seat if you like, you can keep standing if you wish.
Well, now, you know, I just would like, that's why I'm here.
Okay.
I said, come. I said, okay, I'll be here. And I just, you know, a lot of us guys in here, I don't know everybody's problem, but a lot of us are getting just forgotten back, and they're waiting for us to die.
No, sir.
And then what happens, you know, then it's done deal.
That's not right.
All right. I
No,
said-
it's just-
I said my piece.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Now, Vietnam era, sir, were you boots on the ground?
No.
Okay. Did you serve anywhere in the waterways? You were Army, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. There are presumptive conditions for service in Vietnam and in some of the areas in Thailand, depending on your blue water, brown water. I'm not going to get into that, but if you have a heart condition and you serve boots on the ground Vietnam, current diagnosis
Or theater.
or theater, and it's proven, automatic. The VA has to do that. Now,
All they need to do is get my medical records from Germany, and they're gonna find out that my blood pressure is crazy. I mean, double nosebleed for hours at the infirmary and that kind of stuff.
okay,
And I'm just saying, you know, and then my doctors tell me it's all because of the high blood pressure that I developed when I was in. Now my back, I used to unload, I was a ration driver.
check.
And I did that for 4 years in Frankfurt, Germany. And I had to go get the food, bring it back, and when you're in the back of a douche and a half with a cover on it, you can't stand up to do the proper lifting, you know?
Yes, sir?
And I was throwing 100-pound sacks of potatoes out, you know, and taking care of them. I was a dining facility manager also.
Okay,
That was a good thing, you know?
all right.
But I'm just saying, you know, I put my low in.
That if he has contact with somebody that he was stationed with over in Germany at the time, have them write a statement for that they know that have him put it with his claim as a backup, and his claim
Yep.
will get processed a lot quicker.
Hold on.
Got another
A lot
one.
of times-
All right, it's already been done.
A lot of times now, lay statements can be used. If you can't find medical evidence, lay statements, somebody you know.
My nephew was
That can
stationed,
verify that
and he's 6, well, he's retired now from the military.
Okay,
And he works for DC, you know, his wife is the Air Force and she's Pentagon and he works for them.
okay,
Now, he was there with me, he was there when I got there. And he's E7 Staff Sergeant, you know. And he used to have to come and watch my kids when he could because of my back problems and stuff that I was having. But they cannot find my if they could find them, the proof is in the pudding right there.
and they can't, so what I would do as your advocate, I would pull you off to the side, because I don't want to get too deep into the specifics of your case for HIPAA, I don't want my rug to be laid bare in front of everyone to say, okay, this is what's wrong with Gary, because it's quite a list. But I would tell you, not having your records, okay, let's work with that. We start to substantiate how things happened, all right? Did you write any letters home? Did someone know you when you first came out? They need that lay evidence, but also a nexus letter from a doctor, a true nexus letter. A nexus letter saying, I reviewed his private medical health, I've talked to him, and I think that what's going on today is more than likely tied to his service. That's a nexus letter. Too many times a veteran comes in with a letter from a doctor, and the doctor writes the following. The veteran reports that his back is due to his service in Germany in 1975, and it's been hurting since. That doesn't mean anything. That's the doctor saying what you said. A doctor's diagnosis. And when we're asking for that nexus letter, please understand, we're not asking for that doctor to swear in a stack of Bibles, 100% true and factual, without a shadow of doubt. We're asking for the statement, it's more than likely. Because the VA by law, has to side in the favor of a veteran if all evidence is balanced. It's called all evidence in equipoise. If the VA says no, and the right doctor, I'll get back to the right doctor, says yes, all evidence is equal, they have to find in favor of the veteran. Here's where we have some problems with, see, I don't need a mic, they're shutting the doors because I'm loud as it is. We find problems is, I had a veteran in just the other week, and he's been with the same doctor for 15 years. And that doctor knew him before he went in, and he knew him come out, and he says, looks at him and says, you got PTSD. I'm telling you, I've been reading an article, it seems like this is what's going on, I ask you some of the questions, you've got PTSD, and the veteran comes in and files, he's got a letter from his doctor that says, I've got PTSD, we submit that, he goes to a compensation and pension exam at the hospital, he's going to talk to a psychiatrist, school-trained, licensed psychiatrist, and then he's going to ask the questions, he or she will ask the questions in regards to post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and that veteran may have some of it, but he doesn't have all the characteristics. And then the veteran comes in later when he gets a denial and says, they denied me, but my doctor says I've got it, the VA says no, the VA wants to deny me. Why? Well, I've learned that I ask him, who's the doctor? If an ear, nose, and throat guy tells you have a heart condition, I'd see a heart condition or a cardiac specialist, but his weight with the VA, because the VA will always send you to the right specialist in regards to your claim. And then veterans, I actually get to see these, the notes from these visits. And a veteran says, he's in there for hearing loss and tinnitus. Well, first of all, his hearing loss, he doesn't have any. There is some degradation of hearing, but for it to be hearing loss considered for VA purposes, there has to be a certain shift between the right decibels. All right? So, no hearing loss. And then they asked him a question, and he said, when did your tinnitus begin? He said, about 3 years ago. Now, he's been out 20 years. 3 years ago, is the VA going to service connect that in any way? It's common. I mean, I'm not trying to be brutal in any way, but by law, they can't. Now, when I talk to the veteran and he says, you know what? I worked in artillery, and I've always had this in the background. It's always been bugging me. But 3 years ago, it just got to the point where it's constantly on. It's always there. Because tinnitus has different characteristics at different times in our lives. So, we write a statement, we get with the doctor, we talk about how his tinnitus has been going on for 20 years since he served in the artillery, and how 3 years ago it got worse and he got service connected. And by law, tinnitus, or tinnitus, depending on which specialty you talk to, you can't be connected more than 10%. It's not compensatable more than 10%. So if you have tinnitus where it's on the background, it's very frustrating, but you get through the day, or you have like one of those old phones that ring, you know, the ring, all day, every day, especially when it's really quiet, the VA doesn't say yours is higher than this or that. It's a 10% rate. So when you go in for a compensation and pension exam for your back, as an example, and you're on some pretty powerful medications for your back, which between the pain medication and the muscle relaxer, when the doctor tells me to bend over and touch my toes, I'm a little hesitant, but I can get down there. But if I don't take that muscle relaxer, and if I'm not on that pain medicine and he tells me to touch my toes, I don't get past my knees. But at the end of the day, when they service connect you or not, it's based on those exams. And at times, veterans are we're our own worst enemies when it comes to that exam, because we talk to that doctor and we tell him, you know, it's not that big a deal, it's not that bad. When I was in service, I never went to sick call because that's not what you did. You went to work. When I'm in Iraq, when I'm in Bosnia, when I'm in Kosovo, I don't have time to go to sick call. If I'm not eating, I'm sleeping. If I'm not sleeping, I'm working. And sometimes I'm napping at the mess hall because I'm waiting for the line to close out. But, I mean, that's how we were. We didn't go to sick call. Not everything is documented. That's why we need a current diagnosis. And then link something that's happened in service that we can point back to, and then we try and build that path to it. And that's what I would do in your instance, sir. I'd say, do we have anyone at home that you wrote letters to about when you were in Germany? Do we have that your job is detailed? Because you could be, we'd have to further explain, and that's why claims take so long. There are some claims that are out there that are...
This letter, like I said, for my nephew that was stationed, that's in my file, because he sent that letter that you're talking about. It's in...
Okay, that's a buddy statement, as we would call it.
In pending, you know.
Do you have any medical doctors? Do you have an orthopedic specialist that's looked at your back and said, hey, I think it's more than likely tied to your service?
I just got this from you.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what we got to work to.
Because I can get that.
Good. And I need that.
And then I'll bring it to Art.
There you go.
One thing I want to express to you, when you get a late statement from a brother, sister, mother, friend that served with you that wants to support your claim, tell them, don't just put down, I know Gary so-and-so and he don't feel good.
No.
That's not going to work.
This went into detail as far
Yeah,
as...
that's what I'm saying. You
Accommodations
have to let them know. This
Well,
is what's
no,
wrong
the
with
letters
you.
already should be on your file.
You're
But I'm
doing all right.
doing that.
I mean, there are people that do that though.
Well, I'm sure, you know. Okay,
Now-
thanks for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service
Somebody else
again.
Probably got something.
I'll tell you, just to touch base on that last point, when you're in combat and you're claiming something, the VA has to take a different approach towards the validity of that, as opposed to when you're in garrison and something happened. Because when we're in garrison, something should be there dictating that at least that they can point to and say, okay, there was an accident in the motor pool, 3 cars, or 2 trucks piled up. They can point to that. When it's in combat, they have to take the veterans pretty much at his word. Was he there in combat? Was he, is my job a clerk typist, or am I an infantry guy walking through Fallujah? So, all that weighs in. I'll get to you, sir. I have this gentleman behind you. Please, sir.
Yeah, my father-in-law, we filed a claim with Art about a year and a half ago. He's 89 years old, Merchant Marine, World War II.
What?
Okay, we filed for an aid and attendance claim. He's in his 7th, 8th year of dementia. And the response we've been getting back, and we just refiled with Art here within the last week or so,
Okay.
but from regional, I guess, is that we don't have a 214. Well, Merchant Marines weren't issued 214s.
Correct.
We sent proof that he was in the Merchant Marines. I also sent down, on my cover sheet, a notice to expedite due to the age or the sickness.
Yeah.
Well-
That's supposed to be.
He had all the paperwork showing where he entered the Merchant Marines, where he was given relief from the Merchant Marines, a release.
Right.
All this was in World War II, which is substantiates everything. But the VA sent him a letter, not knowing that it was Merchant Marines, I guess,
Check.
asking him for a DD 214. We
That's-
got that straightened out.
Good.
Yeah,
Now-
I'm just hoping this isn't one of the cases, like you said earlier, delay, deny, and wait till you get it. The guy is pushing 90,
Well, I'll tell you, the VA, from my experience, I'll tell you, I'm an advocate for the veteran. I work for the veteran. Part of my job in the military, I was an intel analyst, is I have to look at the other side of the table to see what's going on. And I can tell you why the VA denies things and how we fight that. All right? First of all, if he's applying for aid and attendance, is he doing that as part of a pension claim or of a compensation claim? Need not answer, but to tell you, if he's doing it as a compensation claim, he has to have service-connected disabilities that drive the aid and attendance. There's a form the doctor fills out. Just like individual unemployability, why are you not working? Why do you need the aid and attendance? If it's for pension, that's income. Okay? Now, being his age, I'll tell you two things that I find very frustrating with the VA, because there's many things, but one of the two things is, one is age and the other is what the VA considers homelessness. Because they will expedite claims if you're homeless or if you're in a medical condition that, let's say, it's stage 4 terminal cancer. You get a letter from a doctor saying the prognosis doesn't look good, the VA rushes that through. If you're truly homeless, the VA rushes that through. If he's an 89-year-old veteran who in service of his country is being properly taken care of right now, we have to demonstrate need to why the benefit needs to be paid now, why it needs to be settled now. Because there are thousands of claims out there that to take from the top and put somewhere else on the list, it's got to be merited. I had a veteran who lost his home. He had this home, I want to say 20, 25 years. He remortgaged it a couple times when times were tough, so it wasn't paid off, but he lost it. He moved out, he moved into a hotel, and he gives me a call and he says, "Gary, remember when I talked to you 2 weeks ago? I now lost the home. Please." And I go up to the VA, I knock on the director's door in there, and I said, "Hey, I got a homeless veteran. Lost his home." This claim, believe me, some of these claims, they look like they should be so easy, guys. Let's get it. I don't know why, but the VA has to take every claim through its due diligence, check and balance every step. So they do take that time. But at the end of the day was, since he was at a hotel and he had a roof over his head, the VA didn't consider that a need for expedition of a claim. Their definition of homelessness. Now again, these gentlemen here work for the hospital. It's not that, and I would, if this young lady here worked for the VA, I'd tell you, because I'm not keeping secrets from anybody. But
Real quick, I just wanna, my name is Sal, I work at the hospital. I am the eligibility enrollment coordinator. What I actually do at the facility is, I'm like the gatekeeper for those wanting healthcare benefits. So what he's saying is exactly true. We work for the healthcare administration. There are 3 branches, just so, I don't know if everyone knows this. There are 3 branches. There is the hospital. there's the health administration, there's the benefits administration, and there's the cemetery division, okay? He's been speaking primarily on the benefits division. The benefit division not only covers pensions, disabilities, they also cover home loans, they also cover the GI Bill, they cover everything that has to do with the dollar for us veterans. So it's a very big branch that he's dealing with, and it sounds like he's doing a fantastic job. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that there was that many branches to the VA, and it's just not, when you speak of the VA, understand which branch you're actually pertaining to, because that makes a huge difference. You know, you could be lost in the sauce not knowing there are 3 different branches.
Thank you. I tell you, one of the things, if a veteran calls the office, and you know, I have the privilege of talking to them, and Buster, we get frustrated at times. You know, we see something as black and white, the VA doesn't, and we want to take that out on someone, and I've got big shoulders, go ahead. But when they say, you denied me benefits, I'm like, wait a second. Let's talk about who's we. We, me and you, the veteran and I, we're to get those benefits. The VA has denied the benefit, and now we're going to see how we're going to deal with that and how we're going to fight it. So I understand the frustration level could change from time to time, but understand, again, any service organization that's out there, we've been doing it a little bit longer, and we're pretty much the biggest in the nation, the American Legion. You got to work with the service organization, because charting those waters on your own. And Sal brought up an excellent point. There's vocational rehab. Benefits out there. Home loan, adaptive auto, adaptive home. Michigan is one of the states. I don't know how many other states have done it, but if you're 100% service connected for 1 or 2 reasons, or you have your home modified through the right grant, you're tax-free for your home, for property tax. If you are 100% service connected or 100% with IU, total and permanent. Now the VA puts it out there, and you know, the state put it out there, the VA has the criteria, so I have a veteran who's 100% with IU. Does anyone, I'm going to throw an acronym out there. IU is individual employability. Does anyone need an explanation of what that is? Wow, okay, so the vet's 100% with IU, and he comes in and he says, I need the proof that shows that I can get the tax exemption, and he can't, because he's not total and permanent. The condition he has, he's got to see a doctor, whether it's 8 months from now or 18 months from now, to see has it gotten better or has it gotten worse. So he doesn't grant that benefit. He's like, he doesn't see that the VA isn't denying him, the VA is following the law. Veteran comes in for a knee surgery, they have a benefits called paragraph 30. You're temporarily 100% as long as the convalescence for your knee. Now, let's say a veteran, he's 40% service connected, gets his knee operated on. He's on that 100% for 1 year. When that 1 year is up, what's the VA going to do? Exactly, they're going to re-examine him, and the potential exists that they may lower his percentage. Because after all, why would we have surgery? I mean, the doctor weighs those things and says, hey, the benefit versus the risk. I think this is going to improve your life to some degree. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. So the potential exists that the veteran can go from 40 to 100 to 0. And that's very frustrating to a veteran. I'm 0% now. What's going on? And what the VA is saying is, you're healthy. And if you're not, we got to get with the right doctor. The gentleman left. The one that was talking to me a little bit ago, when he was talking about how vets from Iraq and Afghanistan, how they have these wonderful benefits. Being 100% service connected is owed to you, but at the end of the day, I'd rather be 100% healthy than 100% service connected. And if you don't understand that, please talk to me. I'm surprised my wife didn't get up at that point and say something, because she gets a little frustrated when say, oh, you're getting 100%, so you've got a great, wonderful life. No, there's things that we have to deal with every day because of that. So, again, when I tell you that benefit's earned, it's earned for that reason. Sir, you get another question?
Yes, got a couple of them.
Please.
I'm a retired vet. I retired from the federal prison system
Okay.
a couple years ago. They used already to get my government job.
right?
Over the quarter cap for the VA before I came service connected. Agent Orange. It's very difficult to prove Agent Orange in the DMZ of Korea. I've seen things that they won't pay any claims back from 1990 or 1971. 1974, the South Korean soldiers sprayed the DMZ with Agent Orange.
That's been documented and the VA does recognize it.
Okay, well, consequently, because of that, I have a thing called heart ischemia,
Okay?
coronary artery disease status. Plus, I have breaking out and things called bumps
Yeah,
on my
okay.
body. But they are classified as POMA. The only way that they're going to make a determination by the VA is that I have to have this taken out. I have 3 of them on my artery,
Okay?
which is major surgery, which means that I have to pay for that out of my own pocket. I'm 30% disabled.
Okay?
Okay. Now, my
Why
question
can't,
is,
why can't we
gentlemen,
do
right
that to a
there.
VA provider?
Yeah, why aren't you-
Pardon?
I was gonna let him ask and then I said, but yeah, no.
My question, I'm coming up on evaluation.
But sir, you're an honorably discharged veteran entitled to VA healthcare benefits, and we're not suggesting that you would just step away from any non-VA providers that you're seeing, but if you're seeing a VA provider and you require surgery for anything, that's part of your healthcare benefit. We're gonna send you for that surgery, and you're not paying anything.
At 30%, you said, sir?
Yes, sir.
You are not paying anything for that.
If you come through us, but if you use other benefits
They
now,
told me that my benefits are set at 50%.
no. The
That's
50% of
compensation.
all that, that's money, that's compensation. If you're an honorably discharged veteran, you're entitled to health care. And we got it going over there at 1500 White Street in Saginaw. So, and the thing about, if this is for your service-connected condition, you don't pay any VA co-payments. There are veterans, some of us veterans pay co-payments in the VA for our health care there. But our point is that if you're using other than VA benefits and seeing other than VA doctors, then yes, you're probably gonna end up with co-payments and some of that surgery's coming out of your pocket. If you come through us and get your health care through us and your doctor refers you for this thing you're talking about, even if we send you to a non-VA source, we're paying for it. The VA being, we're paying for that care.
Well, that's a blessing, sir, because it's the first I've heard of that. Okay.
Why don't you give one of us a call and see if we can't hook you up with an appointment at the hospital
Well,
and get you
I've
started?
already been seen by this a couple times and stuff. I'm waiting for this compensation hearing to take place.
Okay, compensation is a totally separate ballgame, just like Gary's been saying. Let the compensation stuff work while this is going on, that's something else. Let's take care of your health care while we don't have to wait for any compensation decisions. You're already entitled to health care. Give us a ring.
Okay.
Give us a ring.
Another thing is I have proof dated back to my military files that took me 9 months to get hold of
Again,
from the VA. that I
sir,
had
you've already
months.
proven to us you deserve health care. Give us a call. I mean, the things you're talking about, all in credence to the claim and the things that down Gary's line of work. As far as we're concerned, come and see us now. Let's get started on this surgery you're talking about.
Okay.
All you have to do is show up as a veteran entitled to health care, and we're gonna start working with you at that point.
Just to clarify, because you look really familiar, you do have a primary care assigned to you, correct?
I paid that.
You go through your provider
Yes, sir.
for these needs. That's as simple as that. Your provider at the VA hospital is your liaison for any specialty care. Now, if you have a provider on the outside, non-VA, that is diagnosing you and is recommending these, again, to get them covered through the VA, you must present that information to your provider. That's the best way. And again, if you're 30% service connected, sir, you don't pay a dime for those surgeries, anything. So,
How about
please
my
follow up.
deductible cost? Well, no, not my deductible, it's because the way it's been working for me is that I had to have an EEG because I had a seizure, or I have a seizure disorder.
I'll tell you what I can
Did the
do.
private doctor order that?
Pardon?
The private doctor ordered that
No,
through
sir,
private
you guys
insurance?
did this. You guys did this at the VA.
Well,
I
he's
just
American
recently
Legion.
had one.
He's American Legion. we work at the health administration, so you're saying your provider, because of HIPAA and because we're on camera, we can speak offline and talk about the particulars as far as what you pay for co-payments and such. But if your provider has scheduled these procedures and you stated you are 30%, you should not be paying anything for these. Now, if you're having issues with payments, as far as are they mistakenly charging you, we can also clarify
Are you
that
getting a bill
offline.
from the VA for
Yeah.
co-payments, sir?
No.
Okay.
I get a statement from my Blue Cross Blue Shield. And the co-payment, I don't have to pay for, but because I'm below the 50% cap, my Blue Cross Blue Shield is paying a portion of that to them.
We need to talk
Yeah,
offline. We need to talk offline.
Another thing is,
I'll get
with this thing, I want to get this all out because it's taken me months to get this right with you guys. Back in 1974, I re-enlisted from the National Guard. I went into Fort Polk, Louisiana, and I had what is commonly called a couple seizures at that time. Now they tell me it was bad nerves. That's what they told me back in '74. 1975, I was placed on MySling because I was passing out at Fort Carson.
Okay?
Okay? 1976, I was overrun in the DMZ of Korea. Well, I was a medic that evacuated the 2 American officers that was killed out there in Panmunjom.
Okay.
Okay? I've got proof of all this. 1982, I suffered what is commonly called a grandma's disease. And I was placed on medical by the VA, disability, and by the federal government because I could not work.
Were you still in the military at 82?
No, I was not.
When did you get out?
Got out in 1977.
Okay.
Okay? A couple of years ago, I had another one about 17 months ago. The VA ordered me to go to the hospital,
The VA hospital ordered you to, or asked you to come in.
asked me to come in,
Yes, sir.
and they took a test. My EEG effect shows that I have an abnormal displacement in my, on the right side of my brain.
Okay.
Okay?
What's your question?
My,
I don't want to go too much further in your medical history because again, of the,
I don't care if people know it or not, sir.
well, it's a violation of a law. It's HIPAA.
Okay. Well, to make a long story short is that I was treated for this in the military. I can't get over my military or my civilian records when they placed me on from the VA hospital because in 1990 they brought me back to work and gave me an office job.
Okay.
Okay?
They being,
The federal government did.
Okay.
Not the VA. So they took me off of my disability in order to be back to work. I'm a retired GS-12.
now your disability, was that private insurance? Was that workers' comp? Was
It was
that,
through the federal government and the federal prison system.
okay.
Now I'm having these problems again in dealing with this, okay? My doctor, I went and saw your neurologist up at the hospital, and he's very good, Hasagawa. And he's put me on Tegretol, and I take about 3 or 4 different medicines for PTSD in retrospect with this, okay? And it's very difficult to go outside the government to get these things without getting these specific tests. I believe that I have proven it, that the total cost on this stuff is just outrageous. And what I'm saying is the government going to take care of my deductible costs?
No, sir. We kind of discussed that a little bit earlier. You choose to have private insurance. Now, if a veteran honorably served is filing a claim for ischemic heart disease as an example, all right, that veteran will be sent to a medical center and he will see at the compensation and pension exam, the right doctors, the right tests will be given to that veteran to ensure whether or not he has ischemic heart disease.
So,
And if you have ischemic heart disease, if you're not on the boots in Vietnam or in Thailand or in some places in Korea at the right time, it's not presumptive. Someone has to show the link between this condition and your service and how they're tied together. There could be things in your file that happen throughout your career that the VA would consider one time or done. You know, guy comes in and says, I got a file for my left ankle. I said, you got anything? He goes, yeah, I remember in 1994, I was on quarters for 12 hours for my ankle. I'm like, okay, what happened? He goes, I was playing football and it slipped. I'm like, okay, let's see. What's going on with your ankle today? He goes, oh, every once in a while it bugs me. Well, come to find out, he was in a car accident 4 years after he got out and had his ankle dislocated. So the VA now has to find out, did the initial ankle injury in 1994 truly cause anything that's going on today, or could it be that car accident where it was severely dislocated and all they have are the records?
Okay. Well, I put all the stuff in a neat little package, and I put it to the Disability Veterans of America,
DAV, okay.
DAV,
Yes, sir.
and my guys out there working on this now. My question to you is this: is my proof significant enough to go ahead and file for a compensation claim under that, or do I have to go see a compensation board for each one of these things that I have discussed here today?
Okay. Good question. Do I need to see a doctor for my compensation claim? Anytime you're filing, they do have a thing that's called the Disability Benefits Questionnaire, DBQ. The VA is using these a lot now. What they are, they're forms. You go on a VA forms website and do a search for Disability Benefits Questionnaire, and for just about every condition a veteran can file for, they're there. I'll tell you, the one that the VA won't use is PTSD. But in this instance, if you have something going on with your heart and you get a Disability Benefits Questionnaire, which would not cost you anything, and if you're seeing this private internist and he says, he fills that out, I think it's about 6 pages for some of them, and we submit that with your claim, you may not go to a compensation and pension exam, because it's well documented and how's it tied to service.
I was admitted into the hospital because I suffered from severe anxiety attacks.
Okay?
Okay. And I was diagnosed as having a 30% blockage. I was taken over to the Cleveland Hospital
You're saying your heart now.
for heart problems.
Okay.
And this is linked all the way back to the time that I served in
Korea.
Korea, in a DMT.
File a claim. The form that you're going to look for is a 526EZ. And another one, well, Art knows all these forms. I'm not showing anything new to Art, but I'll tell you, when you send that up, there's another form that the VA insists on. I believe it's a 210781, which is your stressor statement.
I think for the sake of time, and I don't want to be rude to anyone, is you're being very specific. And what you've got, it sounds like you're on the right track to already have it presented to the VBA, the Veterans Benefits Administration. So this is what you presented to us today has already been initially documented, it's been submitted. So I think what you should do, and this is my opinion, and I encounter this a lot, is go back to the DAV representative, okay? If you feel that he is not knowledgeable, maybe take their numbers down and cross-reference their information. But I would think, go back to your service officer and do that. The DBQ comes into place when it's very cut and dry. Can we tell you if it's cut and dry? He does not work for the VBA. Again, like he stated before, he's an advocate for the veterans, and he works for the American Legion. We also work for the hospital. So we can't, that's not an expertise that we can comment on. So my opinion, and I think for really the bottom line is, your answers are going to be best answered back to your service officer who handled your detailed claim, okay? I really, and if you want to speak offline, and if you would like, us to maybe talk to your service officer just to make sure, I'd be happy to do that offline. But did you have something else, sir?
One thing is, it sounds like he skipped one service office to another. And once you start doing that, and the claim came, then it rotates back to start making a claim all over again.
Yeah.
So you gotta stay with the person you started with, otherwise that claim could be.
All right, sir, hold on. We're going to come back to you.
Absolutely.
A valid point, especially if we have veterans that file a claim, they're being seen at Saginaw, they go see their doctor, and then they get the notes from that doctor's visit, and they want to submit them as part of their claim. What they just did was take that claim out of the fastest track it could have been, which is a fully developed claim, and put it in this kind of, as we can get to it by the caseload. The VA, once you get a claim in, you want to get everything in that's going to solve that claim that they would need, whether it be a civilian doctor, get those medical records. If it's within the VA system, especially within the last 10 years, the VA is going to have access to those records. All right, Miss, you had a question, please?
Yes, well, actually, I want to thank all of you, all the veterans that have served, and you guys for being here to help us. Is there a website that you can actually put out for like benefits, not just health benefits, but like, I'm having problems struggling financially, and need help with my house.
Okay.
Disability and stuff, and I just met Karen the other day, and she helped me a little bit. But there's nothing out there really on the web that you can go to and actually get a good list. And calling people. I even went to call News 5.
Well, there's a book over here that the VA put out, and don't be afraid, or don't be alarmed that it just says 2013 and we're in 2014. That's the most accurate book out there of all the benefits that are detailed for veterans. Okay? Now I'll tell you, gentlemen like Art, the counties, some of these counties have some wonderful programs set up that are outside of the VA purview in regards to helping veterans. The Michigan Trust Fund, the American, and then some of the service organizations have benefits also out there in regards to helping veterans in time of need.
I didn't even know about this place until Friday.
Okay?
Here's the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. Here's their website and their number. If you call the number, you'll actually speak to a person and describe your situation, your needs, and they can advise you on what benefits are available, to include the trust fund and the My BHAP and the other programs that we have. But they'll also be knowledgeable about the federal benefits and county benefits, and can steer you to those as well.
Okay. Also, because I've had claims pending. I finally waited 19 years to finally get pension. Well, I mean disability for my shoulders. 19 years. So
Wait a
I
minute.
understand everybody's things.
There's two different disabilities that you just mentioned there. You said pension and then compensation.
I meant compensation.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I have to be clear so I understand.
So I've been waiting on appeals for different things, and as a female, I had the menstrual problems, but I actually got it fixed.
Okay.
But I fight that. But I've got claims pending, and I'm waiting, but when the VA sends me the form saying they're still working on this claim, is there any way on these forms that they can list which claim they're working on? Because like I
That's
have one for my shoulders.
That would be immensely helpful for everyone who advocates and helps veterans and all.
That's a valid point.
It's a valid point. It's a valid even concern and complaint with the staff, just because, we'd like to help you a little bit better by knowing that. That's going to be addressed to a higher echelon, which is the VBA again, the regional office. So, again, because of our positions, we're kind of limited to offer guidance on a good question like that.
Also, when you call VA, and I've had to, because I have a debt that my ex-husband was obligated for, but they're coming after me because I'm a vet,
Ma'am, which VA are you referring to?
the regional office.
Okay.
And now it's in Minnesota's debt collection, and they're coming after me for a debt that he's already paid.
Are you working with a service officer on
Thank you.
I finally found one who's actually gonna help me. Finally
Excellent.
working, his name is Ross out of Midland.
Yeah.
And stuff. He finally made headway, and and that's why I want to thank for the ones who helped. But is there a phone number? Because every time you call VA, you're on hold or you get disconnected, and you talk to several different people, you never get the same person. Is there any way that we can actually, besides organizations?
I'm going to give it to you right now. Hold on. Everybody, prepare to copy. This is the phone number you want to call in regards to benefits for veterans. I just have to get to my contacts
I'll
here.
tell you by heart.
No.
You can never get through.
While he's doing that, I'd like to mention that.
313-964-6640. That's the American Legion.
Oh, there you go.
Detroit Regional Office.
Yeah.
You should always, always leverage your service organization. Now, if you work with the DAV, let's get that number to you. But you should call the service organization so they can help you in regards to that VA, that
In-house.
call center. It's
In-house.
terrible, I get it.
But like with two problems I'm having, one was the enforcement and one was a debt that my husband, okay?
Well, you're
Because,
thinking Ross Aldrich, right?
yes.
He
One,
would be the one you go to see.
he's working on it, and he's contacted the VA. Because my husband, it was represented by VA, and my ex-husband, thank God, I'm represented by DAV. They won't work together and combine the files because we're both veterans.
They
And there's
can't.
gotta be a way that service organizations can talk to each other to fix problems where veterans are married to other veterans.
We are part of the coalition. Now, the coalition is the American Legion, the DAV, which is the Disabled American Veterans. You have the VFW, or Veterans of Foreign Wars, the VVA, Vietnam Veterans of America, the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Those have all come in under the umbrella of the coalition. Now, the way that coalition works is, we have a representative that goes down to Saginaw, I think on Tuesdays and Tommy Simpkins, Tuesdays and Thursdays? Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you're down there on a Wednesday and you need to get something to the VA, you stop in with one of those 4 other service organizations that I mentioned, and they have to assist you to get that into the American Legion, into the claim.
It's posted everywhere.
But the problem
An issue is-
different branches.
Well, hold on. An issue is, unfortunately, the VA doesn't recognize that coalition to that degree to where that service officer that you're working with right then and there can look into your file to see what's going on. Let alone be able to see into your ex-husband's file. The VA won't allow that
I know.
by law. Well, I mean, unfortunately, but there's things by law that are protected. At the end of the day, the VA is ultimately trying to protect the veteran, both you and he, by not allowing others to have access unless you specifically grant it.
Well, I had a power of attorney in this.
Power of attorney doesn't work with the VA.
It's just been a hassle,
Yeah.
and that's what we need is somehow where your organizations can talk to one another. So that it's like, my situation is unique.
No, it happens, I mean, it is and it isn't. We have people all the time that, you know, I had one veteran come in and he's sitting down with me filing for a benefit because his son was turning 18 and he's still in high school. You know how the VA wants to drop him at 18 because that's it. Unless you're going to high school or you're going to college full-time at a properly accredited college, the VA doesn't recognize that as a dependent anymore. So he's in there filing for that benefit. His wife was right next door in the DAV. She wanted to file for an increase in her claim. And she came in and sat down with me because hers was really quick, where mine was as I'm getting the right forms out for him. And so I was like, oh, you can join us, of course, if the veteran says it's okay, because yeah, that's the wife, she's in charge. Like, it is in my house, but I says, you know, could I help you in regards to your claim? She goes, no, it's with the DAV. I said, oh, okay, so if you're not interested in changing, I'm not here to make a change, but I can't help you in that regard. She goes, fully understand. And she was happy with that.
But it's caused a lot of problems.
It does, but again, it's to protect the veteran. But if you're working with that service organization, in this case in Midland County, he's going to do his best and he'll give me a call. It's funny, we get calls a lot of the day. We were trying something out. We weren't taking messages anymore. What we were doing is, when you call the American Legion main office, you get the next veterans service officer that can assist you with your claim. I want to talk to Tripp, I want to talk to Gary, I want to talk to Elizabeth. We're trying to get away from that because what we've seen is we get stacks of phone calls, and I was saying, you know, at 4 o'clock the days end sometimes. That's when we shut the door at least, and I like that because now I can work on all the paperwork that I have. But I start calling people, and I'm playing phone tag. I've called this veteran 3 times, and I finally get a hold of him at 5:15 on a Friday. He says, you know what, Gary, I'm not home yet. Can you give me a call in 20 minutes? And I was like, holy cow, of course I will. And I hung up and I was a little frustrated. I'm like, but he's not home. So I still got paperwork to do. I'm there. I was there till 6 o'clock. So I called him 20 minutes later, wasn't home. I called him 45 minutes later, he wasn't home. He calls, the veteran calls the Lansing office and says, Gary can never get a hold of me. I can never get a hold of Gary. So what we've done is we're trying to implement, you will get the next available service officer to answer your calls. We're really trying to work with that, and I understand, I love it when someone says I can only talk to Gary. Gary's helped me out. I've got calls from veterans in Georgia because when they came to the Detroit regional office with a buddy, they liked the way that I was taking care of the veteran and they wanted that same service in Georgia and he wasn't sure if he was getting it. I love those phone calls. It makes you feel good. You're making a difference. That's what we're there for. We take care of veterans because we are veterans and that's what we do. But when someone calls and says I can only speak to Elizabeth because she's a powerhouse, it's frustrating. No, wait a second. I can help you. I can. She goes, no, just have Elizabeth call me back. I'm like, sir, the way we're working it right now, we're not trying to do this. We're trying to make sure that your needs are met now instead of 3 days from now when she can actually get a phone call to you. Nope, I want to talk to Liz. My day is kind of sunken at times. Eventually I convince some of them because I pull up the information like, well, Liz is working with you doing this and this. Okay, maybe you can answer. All right, any more questions, please? Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Actually, this gentleman here.
When I got out in 1973, they told you, take your DD 214 to your county courthouse and
Yes, sir.
put on file. But they never said go to the VA hospital and register with them.
No, sir, they didn't.
They didn't do that. And had I done that back then, I would have been grandfathered in. Now, I went down there and talked to somebody, my name's on file and stuff, but now they have groups. Okay, and I got put in group 8 because I was still working and made too much money. So I didn't qualify for anything. They said, once you retire and you lose some of your income, come back to us.
That's all income based, sir.
Yeah.
It's all income based.
Unless you're service connected.
Well, yes, yeah, correct.
Well-
Well, that's presumptive though with this, that he wouldn't be service connected and.
Yes, sir. No, I just want to put up.
But
So now that I've retired, what do I need to do? Because my income is drastically.
What you're gonna do is the full year that you've been retired, you're gonna apply the following year. So what the VA does is when applying for health care benefits and they're looking at the income, they're gonna look at the previous calendar year. So have you been retired now for a full year?
No, it won't be until January 30th.
So January 30th, you've been retired for a full year.
Right.
February 1st, you come and see our office, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna give us all of 2014's income. That's what you're gonna do. And then what we'll have to do is reassess and plug it in the computer, and the computer spits out a yea or nay. Okay?
Right.
That's what
Now,
we do.
one other question on my DD 214. I never set foot in Vietnam.
don't worry about it.
All
All we're concerned about is your discharge and your time of service. sir.
I flew combat missions
Go up.
over Vietnam from Guam.
Okay.
Guam was our home base and I was a crew chief on a tanker.
Cool. Thank you for your service.
But none of that ever shows I don't know.
Where do you want to go with that though?
I just wondered why that doesn't show on the DD 214.
The way something like that, and now this is the old Army stuff, but the way something like that is represented on your 214 is by campaign and service medals.
Okay.
And I don't mean to make less or light of that, sir.
No.
We're in the service in the same era. But my point is that honorable discharge kicks all the doors open and you're entitled to health care. Bottom line,
right.
Honorable discharge. Nothing else on that, well, everything on that has meaning and value and purpose, but your honorable discharge and the dates of the service that you started your term, you finished your term, and it was honorable, health care.
Okay.
Just like that.
So I have February 1st, I get a hold of you now?
You come Saginaw VA Hospital with your finances.
First floor,
It's
right
squared
around.
away.
Stop in here, we have.
I'll get you, miss. You're next.
Easy Del.
Stop in here and get what, sorry?
They got the 1010 Easy.
Okay.
Yeah, in regards to the DD 214, I was in 27 years, 5 different campaigns. There's no way they're going to be able to document everything that I've done during that time period.
Right.
So that's just what the VA looks at in regards to the DD 14. Did he serve? When did he serve? Did he serve honorably? Now, if you served in less than honorable or general, different things come into play when we file for compensation, and I would work on it with a case-by-case basis on that. All right?
Okay, nowadays, are they telling veterans when they discharge to file their DD 214 and also?
These guys are
Actually-
doing that virtual.
Yeah, they're doing it
it
all before they
online
get
before
out.
they get out.
Quite honestly,
Oh, yeah.
they're telling them not to do that anymore. You're not supposed to register your DD 214 at the courthouse because it becomes public record and people have access to that file.
No.
No?
Out here, you.
Well, here
you only
in Bay
get your
City,
own. You cannot, I cannot go down there and say, I'm Tom Jones and I want Bruce's,
Okay.
214. They won't allow it.
when I was getting out, they said, don't do that anymore. I remember because I actually, I've got 3 D214s because when you went from NCO to warrant, you automatically get one because you're out of the service that one day. Next day you're swearing in and then my ultimate retirement. Yes, sir.
I don't have copy access to your DD 214, I don't pay you your burial allowance. I have to have a copy of your DD 214 to pay the burial allowance in this county.
Okay.
But I got one question from back to VA. Big problem here in our county is a veteran will be called a hospital, they'll be rushed to McLaren. They tell them they're a veteran of McLaren. For some reason, the VA and McLaren Hospital are not getting the message. Because they're billing my veterans for care at the VA hospital.
You mean McLaren that used to be Bay Med,
You're right.
over here on Columbus?
Yeah,
All right.
they're not making
Well-
contact with the VA. We have to get that
So that's a
arranged.
veteran's responsibility, isn't it?
100%.
That's right in my alley, that's exactly what I do.
But they're not doing it.
But I want to say this to you, sir, everything, you know, all the best laid plans of men, women, and mice don't always come together, but we've had several meetings over the years with every hospital in the state of Michigan, non-VA hospital that is. When a veteran comes to you with that particular situation, have them call us, because all this, no matter how much we fine tune our communication process between the local hospitals, there's gonna be a breakdown here and there. When that veteran is there and they wish to use their VA benefits, or when their VA benefits are appropriate to be used there, or when we send them there, if there's a breakdown and the veteran actually gets a bill, we can fix that easy.
It's
Because
a
there's,
life and death situation too.
well, okay, but let's also keep in mind that there are rules, some real hard and fast rules about non-VA care, and there's some things that we'd have to look at each case to see what was going on, but that's what I do, and you're certainly welcome to contact me. Art knows how to get a hold of me,
Oh, yeah.
and he has before too, so, and that's okay.
Yes, you had a question?
We had one with the life and death situation where the family said that they tried to call the VA, but they couldn't get a hold of them.
Okay,
I
but,
said, oh, that's fine. I said, hold on. So I called. I got right through.
Yeah. If you have a life and death situation, go to the hospital. Make a phone call later. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to ask, my husband passed away last month, but he's had claims going on for things for 4 years, and I had an attendance one for 11 months because I didn't know
Okay.
that was something I could have. Till the VA doctor told me, you should be getting paid to take care of him. And, does that just go away now?
No. There's actually paperwork that you will have to file for the loss of your husband, and I'm so sorry for your loss. First and foremost, it's a tough thing that you're going through. But there's a couple benefits that are out there that are for surviving spouses. I mean, there's a burial benefit.
Yeah, they are.
He was buried with full honors?
And
He was buried with full honors?
yes, he
Okay.
has wonderful
Good.
military.
I mean, to me, that's one of the biggest things. I want to make sure that that veteran is honored properly.
How honored it was.
Good.
I'm taking care of it right now.
Okay.
It was very, but I didn't know if things just go away.
No. The VA has in procedures for surviving spouses in regards to, was the claim in, is it on appeal? Was it going to, there's things that are owed to the surviving spouse.
Somebody from Detroit had just called me, and we were going to a doctor the next week. And we even confirmed we were
I'm so
I
sorry for
didn't
your
know.
loss. Well, but Art's taking care of you now, correct? Well, but Art's taking care of you now, correct?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I didn't know if things just
No.
stopped.
And it's different if the surviving spouse is no longer, if it's a veteran and his children. Even though the child's 26, there may be a benefit owed to him. But again, there are some pretty rigid regulations that have to fall in line for that in that regard. And that's what, again, the service organizations, they're out there for, to help you charter those waters.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, miss.
Another thing too is, say you get a percentage, like 30%, 50%, 100%, and you're collecting monetary. If your spouse is going to school, your rehab can be switched over, what we call an ARC 35, where the spouse can collect the rehabilitation educational benefit.
Some pretty specific charters have to fall in line with that. Like, I had a veteran, I'm gonna tell you, he come in, and not to belittle service in any way, but he came in and he says, I need aid and attendance. Well, first of all, if you're driving to downtown Detroit and you're walking 3 blocks from traffic to come upstairs, aid and attendance is, you can't function unless you have someone there helping you with the daily activities. And that's what the letter dictates. So I was asking him about, he says, yeah, I'm 100% service connected. So I'm talking to him, I'm like, okay, here's the form that I need the doctor to fill out. The doctor has to detail the level of care you need to get this benefit. He says, oh, I don't need that. I just need someone to come in maybe 2, 3 times a week just to clean the house. I'm like, okay, someone misrepresented what aid and attendance is. Aid and attendance is that you need help going to the bathroom, you need help showering, moving from point A to point B, you can't cook, you can't take care of your meds. There's all, that's there. And I tell you, there's A&A for spouses, surviving.
Gary, that's an example where he was on the wrong side of the house, because if he's over here talking to his VA doctor and he needs someone to come in for half a dozen hours a week or so to take care of him as legitimate need, we've got a program. We've got visiting nurses, not VA people, but contract people that go into the homes and do that. And maybe that's, but again, that's all addressed through the healthcare spectrum. You're seeing your VA doctor, and that's where the referral's coming from. And now we got a nurse's assistant coming in the home and doing some of the things that you're.
And that's why the VA generated that form, because the doctor would detail what's necessary.
Another thing I'd like to bring out is, we get a lot of veterans that come back from Iraq, Afghanistan, in war areas, and they don't know where to go. We do have a program that I work with quite a bit at the Vet Center. And I'd like to say, anybody I see that's suffering with PTSD, before I send them anywhere, I send them right over to the Vet Center. I let the Vet Center find out what's going on, let them help him, because it's crucial. They work with the family, they have family counseling now over here at our Vet Center. And one other program too I'd like to bring out while we're here is the Michigan Trust Fund. We have Director Ray from Lansing. Would you please come up and let them know a little bit about it?
Sure. Is everyone familiar with the trust fund, or some people are not? Okay, well, Michigan's very, thank you. Michigan's very fortunate to have a trust fund. It's one of the few states that, there's maybe only 2 or 3 states that have this type of fund. In 1946, they established a $50 million trust fund, and the interest of that is used to fund emergency grants for veterans, wartime era veterans who are in financial distress. So, you mentioned potentially, if your home is in danger of losing your home and so forth, that's a perfect opportunity to utilize the trust fund. The office is right back there. You have, Karen is our agent, and she can help you fill out that application. You do have to document income and expenses and so forth, and of course DD 214 to verify eligibility. It is for combat era veterans, So if you fall into one of the timeframes, which is noted on the application, then you would be eligible. And of course, an honorable or a general under honorable conditions discharge, you would be eligible. Any questions on that more, or there's obviously Michigan residency and so forth, but if that's the general layout of that program. There's one other program that is fantastic that Michigan has right now. Last year, we got a $5 million grant, excuse me, not a grant, it's actually a lawsuit settlement related to the mortgage crisis and the mortgage lending that was going on, where they were taking advantage of certain veterans, certain populations. And so the state of Michigan got $5 million, and we are now taking applications for that. It's intended for veterans who were negatively impacted by the 2006 mortgage crisis. So if you lost a home as a result of that crisis that we had, you'd be the ideal candidate. However, we have expanded eligibility to also include veterans who are in emergency situation where they're going to lose insurance on their home, something that we can, or if it's a health condition and so forth, things that we can actually link to an emergency situation. That would be what the Michigan, and that's called the Michigan Veterans Homeowners Assistance Program. Information on that program is on this first table right back here, along with the trust fund information as well. And the trust, kind of going back and forth a little bit, with the Michigan Veterans Homeowners Assistance Program, that one you will work directly, fill out the application. There's a number on the application you can call and talk to our office. You will work directly with our office in filling out that application and getting everything in. With the Michigan Veterans Trust Fund, that's where I mentioned you'd see Karen and fill out your application with her. And then the county committee is able to make an award up to $2,000. If it's above $2,000, it would come up to the state level, and there's no limit to what the state can award. But that state board meets once a month. Both are great programs. Great programs. Yes, sir.
I got a question here. What is the limit of income? Because I came and applied for the trust fund, and they turned me down because I wasn't making too much money. My Social Security and my General Motors. Gotcha.
Yep, they'll look at your, it's all done at the county level, and then the same thing is done at the state level. And if you are denied at the state level, or excuse me, at the county level, it will automatically go up to the state level for review. And of course, you also have the opportunity to appeal the county's decision, and that would come up to the state level for a review. But they're going to do the same process there. They're going to look at your income and your expenses, and they make a determination as to whether you should be able to handle those finances. The other condition as well is you need to be able to demonstrate that this is meant to be a one-time assistance. So you need to be able to demonstrate that you are able to assume your financial obligations after an assistance is provided.
Does that matter as to how much you're receiving from, say, retirement, such as this gentleman back there?
Yes, of course it matters.
You know what that cap is?
It's on an individual basis. Your situation may be different from someone else's. You may be paying more in additional expenses if you have children at home or so forth than someone else. So all those things are factored in. Yes, ma'am.
We're talking about low-income people. Are we supposed to get raises in our Social Security for low-income people?
She asked, being low income, are there going to be raises for Social Security? Correct? That's what you're asking, miss?
Oh,
Unfortunately, I don't think we have anyone from that department to answer that.
Because every time I call, they tell me the same darn thing.
The Social Security office?
Yeah.
You know, my expertise, not that I have much expertise, but it's certainly not with Social Security.
So it's been like 3 years and still haven't heard. They said, well, you should hear any day, any day, any day. Well, any day don't come along.
It's not Social Security, it's a veteran benefit.
Yeah.
What
All right,
she's
so-
talking about.
Art knows.
Okay. I say benefits are set at the national level. That compensation, whether you're in Washington DC or Fort Polk, Louisiana, outside the front gate, you're getting paid the same rate at 20%, 30, 100%. So those, I think there was a slight increase last year as far as cost of living, but the government is, drawing back on everything, so I can't say to what degree we're looking at next year.
Also, the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency, I mentioned briefly on the contact information for that. There's some flyers up there for that. We do have a 24/7 call center that you can, when you call that number, 1-800-MICH-VET, M-I-C-H-V-E-T, you'll actually speak to a live person. Now, if it's during non-business hours, that person won't be quite as educated on veterans issues. So I would recommend calling during the normal business hours, and you'll get someone who's in our office. They work about 20 feet from me, and they will be able to advise you on benefits or attempt to answer your question. Sometimes you may have to do some research and get back to you, but that's a great resource. And again, being a veteran, I just retired a year ago after 25 years in the Marine Corps, and I'm dealing with the same issues as far as getting that 1-800 number to the VA and being on hold forever. But this is another resource, and oftentimes they're going to point you back to the federal advocates and federal resources, benefits that are available to you. But they might be able to answer your question and get you in touch with the right person. So I would recommend utilizing that resource. They also have a webpage that is more state-specific as well, and there's some good things. Also, there's a Vet Expo coming up in Detroit in November 7th and 8th.
I'll be there.
Okay, there you go, yes. So great.
There's some other people, so you won't have to deal with me if you don't want to.
Great resource. I would recommend, this will be one of the bigger expos in the last few years. There was a big one in, I think it was 2012, and this will be another good one. But at the Cobo Hall, November 7th and 8th, I would encourage you to be there if you could. Thank you to all of these guys for being here and the wealth of information that they provide, and thank you to all your service.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I got a question.
Please.
I suffer from PTSD. I've been getting treatment for the last year, so how do I go about it? Find out if I qualify for travel pay. I live in Pincan and I got to go inside, sometimes money is tight.
I understand. Now, just so I understand, you're service-connected for the disability you were referring to, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you want it at a higher level? Or I'm sorry, has it gotten more severe?
I understand.
Well, I've been getting treatment
He's got the question.
twice a month. I go to the vet center.
Vet Center or the mental health annex in Saginaw?
I didn't hear you.
Which facility are you going to?
The one,
Is it on Bernard Street or, okay. If you'd like, I can tell you the specifics once I get into your finances offline. I can give you that specific answer whether you would get it or not, okay?
but I asked that person that takes care of the office called, Mike, I think, and he told me they don't do that in that office. They don't,
Is that the Vet Center?
Vet center.
Oh, it's the Vet Center.
Yeah, you gotta come over to the hospital to get your travel pay, sir. If you're eligible for travel pay, we're gonna pay you travel pay
That's
for your
why I want to
appointments.
know who do I talk to find out if I qualify for that or I'm not eligible for that.
Call him.
I can speak to you offline.
Because because I've been one for the last year or so, and I've been expecting something like I know a lot of my friends getting back pay.
When you go to check out, the person you're checking out with, they have a form for you to fill out for travel.
Okay, excuse me, they don't have the system there.
No, that should be at the regular hospital.
Well, I haven't checked out, nobody told me to check out, I didn't go in.
Well, and this Sal here, the gentleman, you can talk offline, or you certainly contact the Saginaw Hospital and they'd assist you.
We just left some brochures that look like this with art, and they're in the back of the room somewhere. And when you look on this brochure, you'll see Sal's extension on here. Where are you, Sal? But if you look at the information in here, I thought you were in here somewhere. Anyway, Sal's at extension.
I'll get with you. I'll get
Yeah, with you. Yeah, he'll talk to you about the travel pay. That's easy.
And another question, does the VA recognizes glaucoma connected to my diabetes? I'm getting a certain percentage for being on that because I was getting on that, right? And they got service connected, but now I suffer from glaucoma. I would like to know if the VA recognized that, or, being service connected too, or?
Would they recognize your glaucoma as being service connected?
Yeah, that's my question.
Secondary to diabetes, I understand. Does your doctor say that's why?
It says related, what the heck does that
Well,
mean?
that's what I'm saying. When you get that nexus letter, I talked about very early on in the situation, where the doctor says, it is my diagnosis that the veteran who currently suffers from this condition is more than likely tied to this condition as a secondary, then you have a good shot of the VA granting the case. But if you go in being a layman, or you have the wrong doctor that says the disability, the vet says this should be tied to a service, the VA needs and wants to grant the benefit, but they need to know how it's tied to your service. So if your doctor will say that, you've got a great shot you got to file a claim. But if your doctor isn't willing to give you that diagnosis, you don't really stand a good chance through the VA. I'm not telling you not to file.
That's right on.
Okay. Thank you again for your service, sir.
I got a question for you. Are you in group? If you're in group at VA, your group coordinator can help you get your travel pay.
Sure.
All you have to do is ask at the desk and he'll get you your form.
If you're visiting the vet center, sir, for some business with the vet center, I'm not sure that's going to constitute an appointment with us for beneficiary travel. But if you're going to the annex, the building that Sal was referring to on Barnard Street, or if you're coming to any of our facilities and you're driving down from Pinconning, then certainly the distance is there for travel pay. We would just have to look at, not every veteran is eligible for beneficiary travel pay. There's a separate criteria for that. But that,
Another thing is, if he lives in Pinconning and he can't afford to go to the VA, we have a van service out of Bay County. They'll pick him up at his home, take him to the VA, wait till his appointment's over and bring him back at no expense to them.
you see your van all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see the van over there all the time.
I wish the hospital would allow us to send a representative. When we go to Detroit, we have to make a lot of trips to Detroit and Ann Arbor because the VA won't allow you to take your wife or somebody with you when you're having surgery in Ann Arbor. I wish they would change that policy and I wouldn't have to drive to Ann Arbor twice a week.
I wish they would too.
Me too. Any other questions? Sir, you had something? Oh, okay.
I just want to say something about the vet center. We are readjustment counseling services. These are free for all combat vets, and they can come and have individual counseling. And the only thing is the difference between us and the Barnard Annex Mental Health is that we do see couples and we do see families. And everything has to be also connected with the PTSD. Basically, if a veteran is having problems, with anger issues or anxiety issues, and that's basically getting some problems with the spouse or the kids, around in the home, and we deal with those type of situations. We have flexible hours. We work Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays until 6:30 in the evening. And we also have some groups around. We have spouse support groups the third Tuesday of the month. We are one upcoming now is October the 20th, I think it's October 21st. And we have also some classes that we do for couples, and one of them is the pairs, and that's have been proven, and it's research proven for couples that needs more into the communication and understanding each other and know how to fight a fair fight. Sometimes we do have problems with that in the home, and this is also another free program that we have. That's offered like 3 times a year, and we have an upcoming one, October 24th and 25th. This time is going to be at the auditorium, the VA Hospital Auditorium, and it's a Friday, it's starting at 5, ending at 7:30, and then the whole day on Saturday. It's a very long class, but it's worth it. We have also PTSD groups with some of the Vietnam vets that come to our center. And that's the second and the fourth Thursday of the month at the Vet Center. Vet Center is located in Saginaw, but we also have other vet centers in Michigan. Dearborn, Detroit, Escanaba, Traverse City, Grand Rapids, Macomb County, Pontiac. All of these are vet centers. And we have the brochure, and I put the brochure here in the back. I'm going to also put brochures for what I talk about, the spouse support groups and the Vietnam vet PTSD, and also the pairs, class that we are, having this month. So if you have any questions, just please give us a call or go, on the side. Thank you.
And another program that I'm working with right now is, say you got back from the military and they had you on oxycodone, different painkillers, and they never weaned you off. I work with a couple of judges right now that if it's a non-violent first offense, we can send you down to get the treatment you need instead of sending you to jail. I just wanted you to know that. And he had another important issue to bring up.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to clarify, I mentioned on the trust fund that eligibility is for wartime era veterans. It would also include widows and dependents of eligible veterans as well in that regard. With the trust fund, peacetime era veterans would be eligible if they have received the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal. So make some allowance for that. And then with the MyVHAP, I mentioned that, the Michigan Veterans Homeowners Assistance Program, there's no wartime era requirement for that one. That's just all veterans.
Do you have any other questions, concerns?
We've got one more person.
Many of you don't know me, I'm Bruce Douglas. I run the Soldiers and Sailors Relief Fund for the county. We have a board of 3 members, and all the decisions are made through that board. We're the ones that give out the money from the county. We are the ones that money is entrusted to us. We are based off the millage. Before we are through the general fund, now all our payments are made through the millage. that the county collects. What we do is, all you have to do is have served. You don't have to be a wartime vet or anything, you just have to have served in the military. I don't mean that you were a reservist and you just did the training, no, you have to have served an active duty and have an honorable or general discharge. And if you got a general, usually Art can get it moved up to the honorable. But what we do is food and gas, like propane for your, if you can't afford it. You got a utility bill or you're gonna get a shut-off notice. Not just because you have a utility bill, but if you're getting a shut-off notice, you can come and see us. We might not pay the whole thing, but we will pay enough to get it turned back on so it's not turned off. If you get an eviction notice that you can't make your rent payment or something like that, you can come in and see me, and my office is right there in the corner, and we will help you with it. But a lot of times we don't pay the whole thing, but we'll make enough that with what you have and what we give you, you can keep from being evicted. If you say you're working and you're low on funds and your car breaks down, we will assist you with getting it fixed, if it's reasonable. If your car's got 200,000 miles on it, I'm not gonna fix that car. Don't bring me on something saying you got a car that broke down and it's got 200,000 miles, because I'm not gonna pay that. That'd be wasting my money. We make a decision, there's Mike and myself, and right now there's just the two of us that are active with it. And, so if you have any problems in Bay County, I don't care what the problem is, medical expenses, anything, you come in and see me. There's no such thing as, in Bay County, as a homeless vet or a vet's in trouble. Because they come and see us, we're gonna make every effort we can. We have a place to house you while we're finding you a job or an apartment. We have a coordination with the homeless shelter over here. We also have a coordination with the Michigan Alliance, the Salvation Army, the Red Cross, Disability Resource Center. We have a number of things so we can help you. I don't turn anybody away as long as I can possibly. We also have a van service. If you need a ride to I don't care, if it's got to do with a veteran, you got to go to Ann Arbor, Detroit, you got to take your wife with you because you're having surgery, VA won't take you, but we will. So you call us. Our number's available at any time. I'm the one that gives out the money, so remember that. That's, if I write a draft, I'm the only one that writes the draft for veterans to get money. It has to go through my office. I also pay the burials, the $300 burial at the
County
funeral home it comes out of the county, but it has to go through my office. Anybody got any questions on what I do? Thank you.
All right, according to the phone, we got to get going here. That was that tinnitus I was telling you about. It's different times my wife hears a noise, and when I'm doing this, she goes, I hear it too, and I'm like, okay, good. Because I'm wondering if I get a new frequency, because it acts up like that sometimes. You're hearing something, and when she starts seeing me turn my head, she's like, no, I hear that one too, you're okay. Again, you've got our phone number. I left some business cards over there. Thank you, truly, for your service. It is, every veteran that came before me paved the way that made this country as good as it is, as great as it can be. I truly appreciate, if I didn't shake your hand, know that it's heartfelt. And for the spouses out there, boy, I tell you, I've been married 27, no, look at her, she's doing the math. She went like this, that's funny. I've known her practically my whole military career, and I've spent half of it in the military, or more than half, and she's been with me. And I tell you, the spouses and the family, the sacrifices that you've had to make. It's very heartfelt, and I certainly appreciate each and every one of you in that regard. Thank you. If you need anything, I'm going to hang out here in the back a little bit. If someone wants to talk a little one-on-one, I'm going to go across to the hall here to the American Legion, but if anyone's interested, my boss had me bring up some coins. They have this coin from the VNR. Just so you know, the money that for the sale of this coin that goes into part of the part that we get to pay to help veterans out. So when you come through the door, we don't ask membership, which we will never, I can't imagine that ever being a part of the charter. Because the American Legion, we take care of vets. We take care of our own. Hollywood wants to start, or we got your 6 program, we've always had your 6. We've had your 8, your 9, and your 3. I mean, we've always been there, we always will be. So, thank you.
One thing I'd like to do right now is thank our county executive, Mr. Tom Hickner, and his staff for helping us set everything up. If it wasn't for them, we probably have one heck of a bind trying to get this put together. I'd also like to thank Sal, Mike for being here. Also, from the Vet Center. If it wasn't for these people, it just wouldn't be no VA. Anybody else have any final questions? Oh, I'd like to mention too that Bay County does have an honor guard through the Veterans Council. Any kind of burial for a veteran, all you have to do is request it through the funeral home and you will have honors. Other than that, any more questions at all? Yes?
We came in once for some assistance with a food voucher or whatever.
Yes.
And we got it, and then we come back, you know, I guess they said every 3 months or something. And then all of a sudden they tell us 4 months, 4 months. But then they tell us that we don't qualify because our income is too high. Yet the first time we were okay, and then we're told that we don't qualify anymore.
What would be Bruce's, what does he have that?
He'd be able to talk the specifics for you as to why and why not. To tag on along with what Art said in reference to burial benefits, there's a phone number out there, but I'll let you know, I was out of Fort Knox, Kentucky, was my last duty station, and I was part of the program that Fort Knox had the duty rotated around to the different battalions, but we take at least, at a minimum, 2 soldiers to show up at that funeral to present the flag and play taps. Some of these color guards could blow us out of the water in regards to truly laying honor to a veteran, but at a minimum, you're owed that. There's a presidential certificate signed by Obama. There's a headstone that you have, or a grave marker that's available. There's different forms to fill out. You get with your county or you call my number, do a Google search. There's things out there owed to vets throughout that. And then one of the things I'd like to close with is for the veterans, this is for you. If you got that DD-214, you got a letter from the VA saying what your benefits are, put that in an envelope and put that in a spot where your spouse will have that after the day comes. Because she'll need that DD-214 to get a lot of things started. It's unfortunate because we have vets in the system. They've been in the system for 20 years. The VA is paying them a benefit. But here's another benefit that comes up, and it's a different department, and they want to start back at the base, which is that DD-214. So one of the things that you can do for your loved ones is provide that, a copy of that. And if you are service-connected for a disability, and you happen to pass away from that service-connected disability, there's different benefits for your spouse. So, all right? Thank you again.